Welcome, mortal souls, to Strange Darkness Radio. Within the echoes of our hosts' haunting voices, terror weaves through the airwaves like a malevolent symphony. I am Benson, your spectral guide, leading you into the uncharted realms of the macabre. Brace yourself for a descent into a paranormal abyss with hosts Bobby Washington, Carolyn Grey, and Amy Tydeman. They traverse through tales that linger in the shadows, spectral apparitions, haunted domains, cryptids, and otherworldly encounters. Embrace the darkness, extinguish the lights, steel your nerves for a bone-chilling night into the heart of the unknown. It's time for Strange Darkness Radio.
I can feel it coming in the air tonight. And I've been waiting for this moment for all my life. Can you feel it coming in the air tonight?
We are back for season 3. Ladies, how is it going tonight?
Fantastic. Happy to be back podcasting with you guys.
Awesome.
It was so weird having all that time off and not recording with you guys. I missed it.
Yeah, it was. I was kind of, getting, a bit nervous. It's like, are we coming back? But
Right.
yeah, no, we are back. Definitely. Tonight is going to be a fun-filled show. And we have someone who I think is going to be amazing. And I want to introduce you guys to her. But before that, we're going to get into a little bit of show business. And just to let you know, as we move forward on season 3, we may or may not come out with what we call bonus episodes, in the sense we talked about it on the last episode. We might just drop an episode every now and then, an extra episode. But Amy is now, on the show permanently, on the main show, opposed to me and her just doing bonus episodes.
Yay, I've been promoted.
That's funny. All right, okay, we'll see if you actually like it. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, this season we definitely have a lot of things planned. We want to, do a lot more live shows on YouTube. So that's something that we want to get into and, have guests on, do the whole interview process live. And we also will, still upload some episodes that we do that are our Audible podcast and show some of those in certain snippets and all that good stuff, because the shows are edited as we, before we put them out, stuff like that. But yeah, I think this season is going to be really interesting. We got some really great show topics coming up and some real new and interesting, things moving forward. So anything new with you guys?
Well, I just want to say welcome to the big leagues, Amy. You're officially no longer just the bonus episodes.
Wow.
Aw, thank you. I'm
Hey, people
so happy to be
It's going to be
here.
real different, so be ready.
People love
A
those
whole
bonus
nother
episodes.
ball game.
Well, I am happy to be here. Happy to be with the bigwigs now. Thanks for letting me join you guys.
That's too funny.
But it's
I'm
a
happy the
privilege.
three of us get to record. This is going to be fun. I didn't want to say way more fun, but it's going to be
Well, I think it's going to be way more fun with me here,
I do
right? That's why I
too.
got promoted.
Exactly. It should be great. Okay, so we do have.
Wait.
Go ahead.
I
What's up?
also just want to let all of our listeners know I got a new job. I am working
Oh,
at a
yeah.
hotel now, and it's a historic hotel, and it is supposedly very haunted. So I'm hoping one of these days I can bring you guys to work with me and do a special episode there.
Oh yeah, that would
So,
be interesting.
Yeah.
Definitely.
That
It'll
would
be
be
fun.
fun. Do you have ghost hunting equipment, Carolyn?
No, I don't. Maybe I can borrow some of Bobby's, though.
Yeah, I can.
I have it
I
shipped
can
here.
send some down. Exactly. No, that would be extremely cool. Even the people that are staying in the hotel, might have some paranormal experiences they want to share, on the show. So that would be great also. So yeah.
It's actually been featured on a few different popular like ghost hunting channels on YouTube. So I was actually surprised to find it on there when I first got hired. But yeah.
So any big names like Ghost Hunters or, Zach Show? Anything like that?
I can't think of specifically. There's one guy I watch, Franco TV. I don't know, how famous he is or whatever, but he goes everywhere. He goes to other countries and he does, haunted hotels, battlefields, cemeteries, and he's got quite a following actually. So he did an episode there, and I saw a few others, but
okay, we might have to. Me and Amy might have to come down, and we can do a live. Podcast.
We should all do a ghost hunt. That would be super fun.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
That sounds like an exciting field trip.
Yeah. We see who would actually last.
Our first field trip.
I'd probably be the first one out the door, personally.
Probably you.
For sure. All right. We do have a new semi-sponsor, but not really a semi-sponsor for the show, which is interesting. I just want to tell this because it's so funny. As you guys know, or at least we said in the last couple of shows, I've been on a whole weight loss journey thing. So in doing that, I'm still always trying to find, sweet things that I can enjoy without being, overindulgent in that. And so I found this company called Popcorn Remix. And they're really interesting because when I was like, I don't know, probably 19 or so, this story is so funny. I want to tell it real quick. And hopefully it's not too crazy because, again, this is a great product. So I don't want to intertwine the two as far as what I'm about to say. But me and my buddy went down to old Sacramento. They have like a train museum and different things.
Like our historic
historic
district.
area. It's like old Western type, town and stuff with like a saloon and all that good stuff.
Cowboy.
Yeah. Anyways, there was this popcorn joint that we loved, and they used to have blueberry popcorn, and it was freaking amazing, right? And so me and my buddy, we got some, went home that night, and, we're eating, playing video games, talking and doing our thing. We go to sleep. We wake up the next morning, and my buddy is reaching into his blueberry popcorn that he had left, and he's all eating the popcorn, enjoying it, just having a great time, right? It was really good popcorn, right? And I look at him and I was like, dude, you have ants all over your face. So ants got into the popcorn and he's eating this popcorn and he has ants crawling all around him. It's the craziest thing.
Did he eat the ants?
Yeah. Yeah. Because he didn't know. I mean, this was going on. He was eating this stuff for like at least about 10 minutes, right? And
he didn't see it.
No, he didn't feel anything crawling on him or anything, right? And that night, the ants just found it and they just put a march on it, right? The queen was like in the bag. It was crazy. And
he didn't get ants from the store. It was like he had opened the bag and then from his house they went.
Yeah, it was my house. It was like on the windowsill. He left on the windowsill or something crazy like that, right? And I was just horrified. It was like a horror movie. I was like, dude, you have ants all over you. You're eating ants, and it's like, man, this is really good though. I was like, you are crazy.
Didn't care.
Exactly. So anyways, to make a long story short, the story was freaking funny. So I've always been looking for popcorn places that make like, whether it's cotton candy, blueberry, raspberry, cherry, all kind of different things. This place that I found, and actually I found them on it was like a Steve Harvey podcast or something like that. And, I hit them up. They're actually based out of Atlanta. And I'm like, hey, man, send me some popcorn and all that good stuff. Pay for it. And, then I, tried it. It was amazing. So, with that being said, I was like, hey, I want, to have you guys on my show, sponsor your, do a reverse sponsor to where I'm actually just having them on the show because I like their product. They have over like 50 flavors and everything. And you guys should really check them out. They're really big on Instagram. And it's a small business startup, African-American, company. It's really good. You guys should check it out. But I will, when we go to break, you will hear bumpers that are going to be played on the show that I did.
What is it called?
For
the business?
Popcorn Remix.
Popcorn remix.
Yes, you will trust me, you keep listening to the show, you will know all about it. And I have a bunch more popcorn coming on. I'm still doing good on my diet, 40 pounds, I've lost so far. So that's still going great. Yep. And, got to get down to that 165. So, but yeah, doing good. Anyways, we're going to go ahead and take a break. And when we come back, we're going to have an amazing numerologist, psychic. She has so many titles, it's crazy. But we will get into that. So we will be back.
It's time for a commercial break. We'll be right back. Introducing Popcorn Remix, the ultimate snack for late-night cravings and podcast sessions with Bobby at Strange Darkness Radio. Escape the guilt of sinful snacks with this sweet or savory treat that transforms familiar flavors into popcorn delights. Indulge in the tempting variety, from Charlene's banana puddings to lemon cake, savory lemon and pepper, and incredible jambalaya, featuring over 50 flavors. Each bite is a mysterious encounter, captivating your taste buds like a shadowy figure in the night. Let the popcorn seduce you with its sinful allure, offering an irresistible guilty pleasure with a healthy twist. It's a burst of excitement reminiscent of Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory. Popcorn Remix is the popcorn experience that keeps you craving more, as if you've danced with shadows in the moonlight. For this delicious adventure, contact them at info@popcornremix.com or call 678-806-5855. So go to www.popcornremix.com to have a remix in flavors. Now let's get back to Strange Darkness Radio.
How much I love it.
You really sold that.
Exactly.
That's a great commercial.
Thank you. Okay, Benson, here we go. Let's do it.
Welcome, listeners, to Season 3 of Strange Darkness Radio, hosted by Bobby Washington, Carolyn Grey, Amy Tydeman, and your spectral voice, Benson. On tonight's show, we have a captivating guest joining us, Rothy, the host of the whole podcast. Rothy is no ordinary individual. She possesses extraordinary skills as a clairsentient and claircognizant, along with being an automatic writer. Her journey into the supernatural began at the age of 7, when she and her mother encountered a demon, facing an attack that shaped her unique skill set and compelled her to embrace her supernatural abilities. But Rothy's abilities go even deeper. As a numerologist and empath, she started channeling in 2019, sharing incredible spiritual awakening stories. She provides consultations using her psychic gifts through numerology and automatic writing. From personal numerology to compatibility charts for couples or business partners, Rothy has a keen ability to predict false flags and major events. In her work, Rothy decodes the framework of our simulation through numerology, uncovering how elites move and communicate. She'll explain why certain dates hold significance for the elites and help people understand themselves through their charts. Stay tuned for a fascinating conversation with Rothy as she shares her insights, experiences that delve into the mysterious world she navigates. This is an episode you won't want to miss on Strange
Welcome
Darkness
to the show.
Radio.
Rothy, how's it going?
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you. I don't think I've ever heard quite an intro like that. That was absolutely incredible.
Well,
I don't
thank you.
think that I could have come up with something like that. That was great, guys. That was really, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you. Those are all your attribute skills and things that you put out into the universe, which is amazing.
Thank you. Happy to do it. I'm honored to do it. And I'm passionate about helping people understand the framework to the simulation, like it said. And learn how to read life through the numbers. It's just such a hack. It's such a code, and you really can learn people. You can learn how to make better decisions. You can learn things about yourself, and it really is just heightens your level of consciousness, literally, in life. And it was one of the main catalysts to my very, very significant spiritual awakening. So yeah, that's why I'm here. Thank you for having me.
Can I ask you, so your name is Sarah, but you go by Rothy? And is it Rothy or Rothy? Our Benton guy was saying Rothy.
That's okay.
Yeah, he has sometimes, he's British. What can you do?
Yeah,
doesn't pronounce so good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's Rothy. It's short for Rothblatt. It's a nickname that I was given from a former boss when I used to work in radio in Orlando.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just kind of my nickname. But Rothy Reads Numbers is kind of the brand that I've gone with as a numerologist. So it kind of just rolls with the tongue, so to speak. So Rothy it is.
Okay. And I already have questions for you based on, what you just were saying about numerology. But before we get into all that, I think we just kind of wanted to know a little more about your story and yourself and how you got into this, your experiences and growing up. So do you mind telling us a little bit about you?
Absolutely not. I think it's a big part of, I like to let people know how it happened for me, because I do have kind of somewhat of a big fish life story that's a little bit hard to believe if you don't know me, if you don't understand where I came from and how these things came to be. It sounds a little bit weird. So, and it was also very, I've never heard of a spiritual awakening through numerology. So it's kind of a whole other can of beans, so to speak, in that regard as well. To make a long story as short as possible, it started in El Paso, Texas. That's where I was born and raised till I was about 11. I moved to Orlando, Florida, Central Florida. My mom got remarried. So I was, taken out of Texas. We moved to Florida. I lived there for the next 30 or so years until 2019 when I moved to Dallas, which is where I live now. And it was then that my spiritual awakening and my spiritual abilities specifically really started to kick into gear. I'd been low-key obsessed with numerology for several years, since about 2011, but I just kind of studied it on my own, not really publicly. I was raised in the church. And so I always kind of had this thing in the background of my mind. Like, am I like playing with my soul's destiny?
Yeah.
Am I gonna my family? Like, it was just one of those things that I kind of wrestled with for a while, but I was fascinated with the numbers and they always called to me. And so there was one verse of the Bible that always sticks out and, still continues to stick out in this regard, and that is seek and you shall find. And, I still have the faith that I grew up in. I believe certain different things about it now that I've done a lot of research and had my awakening. However, my core beliefs are still the same. I have not gone into like quote unquote witchcraft or blah, blah, blah. But no, like numerology is God's sacred language. He did a lot of coding throughout the Bible. I mean, we have a whole book called Numbers. Hello. So God knew, he created numbers. It's literally the framework to our entire existence. We all know that everything is energy, right? So how do you quantify energy? Through frequency, right? How do you quantify frequency? Through numbers. Therefore, if everything and everyone is energy, then everything and everyone is numbers as well and can be broken down into such. So it was, and forgive me if I kind of go back and forth with things. It's kind of a big picture thing and I want to get some details in.
No.
It was around 2011 when I, again, started getting into numerology kind of low-key and studying it. And it was my birthday that year that really kind of like just smacked me in the face. And this is kind of like what threw me in that rabbit hole. My birthday is May 1st, and which I didn't know at the time, but is a very old ancient holiday, pagan holiday known as Walpurgis Night. And it is actually the most evil day of the year. It goes from sundown April 30th to sundown May 1st. And so, because of course in the Bible and Hebrew, that's how the calendars and days work, right? You go from sundown to sundown. So this is that old ancient pagan holiday that happens to be 6 months to the day, by the way, from October 31st, which is Halloween. So
I was going to say, is it kind of like a pagan Halloween?
Yeah.
It's like their version of, oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's like,
Interesting.
right. If you go back to the history of it, it's a lot of German. There's a lot of German, but there's other cultures and countries around there that Norwegian, different, like I said, different places, and they celebrated it in different ways. But a lot of it was along the lines of the maypole. You know, you got the kids dancing around the maypole, May Day, the May flag, all of that ritualism, and children, which is something that I just am not cool with in any way, shape, or form. Leave the kids alone. And so just to kind of know about that, it varies in different forms. So not all of it was that extreme, but some of it was. And it's, you know, it's the day of the year. It's the one day of the year that the veil between this dimension and the spirit world is the thinnest. So this is the day that historically, it's how Walpurgis was started, that witches would convene with Satan and they would bring in different spirits from the underworld through this thin veil to do the work of the devil. So, and it just kind of morphed into different types of pagan religions, you know, throughout the culture.
That didn't freak you out being born on that day?
Yeah.
To ask questions like, okay, what, you know, how does that affect me?
Just the beginning. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Like, am I here for, like, I love you, Jesus. Am I here for the right things? Like, like I'm really starting to question myself now. Right. And then I start to look at history, May 1st in history. Well, we've got May 1st, 1776, which is the day that the Illuminati was established. We have May 1st, 1945, the day supposedly one of the Antichrists, Adolf Hitler, supposedly died. And then we have 66 years later to the day, May 1st, 2011, when another Antichrist, Osama bin Laden, supposedly was taken out. And you can believe
that's crazy. Are all these dates, like, you've looked it up and verified it? Oh.
And I remember being in the living room on my birthday in Deltona, Florida with my family watching the news, and they were talking about how they'd gotten Osama bin Laden that day. And so if you look at it online, it's like, it'll say May 2nd, but that's because of the fact that it was May 1st here. Where we are. So when we're finding it out.
Oh, right. Because they're ahead of us. Okay.
So because I remember it just happened. It's May 1st. It's my birthday. I'm going to remember that. And then you have 66 years to the day. And then you have what's May 1st in numerology. That's a 6. You got 666. So that was my first kind of like piecing together of how the elites use certain dates in certain ways and can use time, you know, make certain things happen on a certain year. And then so many years later on that same date, make another thing happen and, you know, pull it all together, big picture, so that it's maybe a little bit more difficult for the average person to decode, so to speak. But then God was like, no, we're going to send another human down there and she's going to be born on this day and she's going to be like obsessed with numbers and learn it. And so, that's literally like what happened. It's like, I've just had a way to be able to look into it. But anyway, that was like one of the big things that like blew my mind. I was like, I got to dive in from there.
And this all came natural to you when delving into the numbers and you being able to see that, you know, and visualize that.
It did. It really did. I have to say, I don't recall a lot of the things that I looked up. I literally taught myself numerology. The one person that I do recall that got me started in it, my mom told me about it first. And then we listened to Gary the Numbers Guy, who was on the Glenn Beck show. I think it was New Year's Eve 2010 going into 2011.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of like one of those things that, okay, made me take a look into it. And then, you know, 5 months later, Osama bin Laden supposedly, you know, is gone on my birthday. And that's when I really took, you know, the swan dive into that rabbit hole. I did not, I of course, would look things up online and just Google and stuff, but I just started, I didn't realize it until like 2019 when it was in my face, but the numbers started showing their own personalities to me. I know that sounds insane, but they have attributes, they have personalities, they have energies.
Yeah.
I was going to ask that about numerology. Like, do the specific numbers have specific like characteristics? Because I know that in numerology, it only goes 1 through 9, right? So once you get to 10, you kind of go back to 1, and then 11 is 2. Like you add the numbers up into a single digit, right?
So partially right. So you have the cardinals 1 through 9, and then you have the masters 11, 22, and 33. Now, this is only for personal numerology charts or for dates of prediction. Okay. This is also Pythagorean numerology. This is not gematria. Gematria is a whole Kabbalistic, a different type of numerology. That's more of like you confirm on the back end of things, whereas Pythagorean numerology helps you to predict on the front end. That's how I've been able to predict false flags and, things that have happened before, is because I know the date that's coming up. So there's certain energy that I read from that. And yeah, they absolutely have their own personalities. I name them all. Like the 8, like I told you, the big one is Kanye Omari West, and he's an 811.
Crazy 8.
Yeah, so he's an amplified 8. And then like there's each one of them has its own energies, its own personality traits, and then when you combine them, they're like mixing colors together. They just they do certain things. Some of them make beautiful colors together, and some of them are just baby poop green. It's like, what?
Yeah,
Like,
shouldn't
no.
mix those.
Exactly. So that's just a little bit about how that came about. And then in 2019, I moved here, and my friends, I would just tell them a little bit, oh, it's because it's an 11 today. And they're like, what? And I would explain it and then kind of do their charts real quick for them. And they're like, you need to do this, Sarah. You need to start doing this for people. And so I did. I put out a video to a Facebook group of women that I know, women's empowerment group. I didn't know most of them. I knew some of them, sorry. And just said, hey, I'm going to do this for free. I just want to put it on my YouTube. Let me know if anybody, I signed up immediately, like probably 12 people. And it was about the third consultation where I actually ended up channeling somebody's dead relative who had been murdered.
Oh, wow.
It was caught on video. I think I sent you one of the pieces of footage. And so that was kind of that moment. That was the moment.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that was the moment.
Where it clicked.
So,
wow.
Rothy, what kind of, I know you said like you were interested in numerology your whole life, but like what kind of training? Was it like self-training? Did you go to classes and then?
No. In fact, I just last year recently started following Gary the Numbers Guy again, because I had heard him on the Glenn Beck show, and then I wasn't really on a lot of social media back then, and I didn't find his social media until again last year. I just taught it to myself, and I didn't realize at the time, but I was an empath. I've always been an empath. I just didn't realize it until the more significant, I'm drawing somebody's murdered cousin on their chart, things started happening, and until I couldn't deny it anymore. But I guess that's the best way to say it, is they just started coming alive to me, and I just understood. I guess it's like that clairsentience. I know what they are. I just sense it. You know what I mean? So I hope that answers.
You mentioned 2 different practices or 2 different types of numerology. What were they again?
Pythagorean.
Pythagorean.
And
what was the other?
Gematria.
Do you practice both, or
no?
You said you mostly do the Pythagorean.
Yeah, Pythagorean.
What are the differences between the two?
So Pythagorean numerology is what I consider to be more scientific. Okay. This is what you can hang the reality sweatshirt on, and it's going to hold it. Gematria it's so very in depth, and it is a lot. It's it's involved in Kabbalah, Kabbalism, Kabbalah. I don't know.
Kabbalah.
Probably
That's
Kabbalah.
what got me interested when you said that, because I'm obsessed with Enneagram. I'm sure you've probably heard of it.
I've heard of that. Yeah.
Well, I'm thinking that has to do with, I'm sorry, what was it called? Gematria?
Gematria. Right.
Yeah, because I've heard that the Enneagram is also based in the Kabbalah, or comes from the Kabbalah. So I wonder, and it's a system of numbers 1 through 9, and it's like a personality and life mapping system. But anyways, you said that yeah, you would love it. It's called Enneagram. It's really interesting. But you said Pythagorean is more focused on future predictions. And then,
so I would say that, I don't want to say that Pythagorean numerology is focused. I would say that I, as a numerologist, can use Pythagorean numerology to predict.
Make predictions. Oh,
I can't use gematria to predict, because not nearly as well as I can do Pythagorean, because gematria is just so, you've got 12 digits in daily numbers or in charts with Pythagorean. You've got the cardinals 1 through 9, and then you've got the masters 11, 22, and 33, and that's it. That's it. With gematria, you've got 142, you've got 1249. I'm not like it goes just infinity, and very, very detailed. I use the Gematrix calculator to look up what a frequency of a word is. That's kind of cool, to do things like that, or to maybe find more terms that resonate with my frequency, or say like XRP. I'm huge into crypto. Like there's the gematria on XRP is pretty terrifying, actually. But yeah, so it's just kind of like what gematria is, what other words are in the same frequency as this word or this number that you chose.
Yeah.
That's what that is.
So almost like more spiritual numerology, and then Pythagorean is more scientific based numerology.
Yeah. And I mean, your preacher in your typical Sunday church is not going to tell you that. They're going to tell you both of them are witchcraft and all of that.
Yeah.
But Pythagorean numerology is literally like, if you're balancing your checkbook, are you scheduling something on it? That's numerology. It's using the energy and the frequency of numbers and however application that you need to. So,
but how are you interpreting those numbers? Do you use that book that you were speaking about to go through the words to correlate them with the numbers? Is that how that works? Or is it that, so how do you actually get a prediction from that just based upon knowing the numbers?
When I make a prediction, you mean?
Yes.
So I don't use Gematrix for that or gematria at all.
Oh, okay.
When I do predictions, like I literally will write out the month.
Oh.
I'll write out the month, and then I just go through and I do the overalls and I do the daily numbers. And it's 11:01 right now. Hey, Big Daddy. And so basically there's going to be numbers that stick out. First of all, every single month you want to watch the 8s, you want to watch the 11s, you want to watch the 22s, and you want to watch the 29s of every single month. And by the way, this year is a leap year, so we do have a February 29th, which is going to be
interesting.
Yeah, this is going to be a big leap year, FYI.
So when you say watch the numbers, what do you mean specifically? Just everything having to do with the number, like people who are born, under those numbers, the time, the dates, like what do you mean by watch?
Yeah, or does something bad happen on those days, or like
hopefully something good? I need goodness in my life. Go ahead.
We have the good numbers.
Yeah, it can be good and it can be not good. I did predict on August 1st last year, predict a Black Swan event on the 8th, and that happened. We saw what happened on the 8th through the 11th, which was Maui. And that one was really hard because I was receiving a lot of feedback at that time to not be such a fear monger.
Yeah.
And when I had within me this screaming urge to tell people something horrible is about to happen.
Yeah, that was my question that I sorry to interrupt you, but that was my question that I wanted to ask when you know an event like that is about to occur or is on the precipice to occur, are you overwhelmed to get that information out, or do you sit on it or pray on it, that it doesn't happen? How do you go about that?
So that's a great question. And you may have even seen this, Bobby, in my social media since we started talking when it came to the whole the 8th through the 11th of January here. Like I had just said, there's something for the 8th. And then on the 8th, we ended up having number one, talk about the good and the bad. That was, I had made a prediction video the night before, as well as for January, saying, watch the 8th specifically and the 11th. And the 8th, we had a huge market boom and crypto boom of the market, which was really, really good. It's back down now, but that's good. And it's about to go back up again. I've done a few of those as well. And then in this prediction video, I said it's something to do with money because 8 is power, money, karma. We're in an 8 year, and to be in that 8 month, and it was an overall 8, that was a triple 8. So tripling that power, right? Triple amplifying that power. And then I said, and then hopefully it's not anything to do with like a mass cash event, as I called it. And then we had that big explosion in downtown Fort Worth that same afternoon. So similar things have happened, like, with the volcanoes. I'll just mention something. I'm like, the volcano's about to pop off. And I'm like, I hope that's not a premonition, Yeah. And so I do feel a lot of times this like panic inside to get the news out. And it's always a balance of, they're going to think you're crazy. They already know you're crazy. Say your shit anyways, because who knows what you could do to help somebody. Like that's literally, because I didn't know where it was going to be with Maui. I didn't know where it was going to be. I didn't know what it was going to be.
I was going to ask that. Okay.
No.
Right. So so when you get that feeling, you just have a feeling that something is going to happen, but you didn't have like a specific vision that, oh, this is going to happen with Maui. There's going to be all these fires to be crazy, but you just knew like something was going to happen, but not specifically the event.
Yeah. No, I didn't know specifically that was going to happen. And I called a black swan event. I said, I'm not saying it's going to be, if you go to the video, I'm like, I'm not saying it's going to be a black swan. I'm not saying hurricanes. I'm not saying earthquakes. I'm not saying false flags. I'm just saying, I'm
something.
trying to, And I used the F word in it. And I was like, hold the F on, hold on.
Yeah.
Because it's coming. And I tried to be so emphatic. And a lot of people take me as like, oh, you're so extra, Sarah, blah, blah. I'm trying to not be a fearmonger while warn people to be vigilant out there, because we live in an insane world nowadays and we all need to be on the lookout at all times.
That's so true.
And so that's just kind of what it is. It's a very, I cried a lot after that, of course. I cried a lot after that.
That has to be like a really terrifying feeling, though, because you have this feeling of something really horrible is going to happen, but then you're not exactly sure, like, in what direction that's coming from, what exactly is going, that I can imagine just not knowing, but knowing something bad's going to happen is just like this terrible feeling to carry around with you, every day.
And then when it happens too, it probably isn't a great feeling to be like, oh, I was right. Something terrible happened.
Right. I always want to try to be like, there's the big part of me, because I feel forever that people have been like, yeah, right, Sarah. Yeah, right. But I'm like, see, I told you so. I told you so. And it's not about me. Like I'm just the vessel. It's about, please listen. I'm not doing this for money or for attention. Who wants to look crazy? Who wants to, what I mean? Like, I'm a college educated, successful woman who, has her wits about her. I don't need to be going out there making a damn fool of myself for no reason. Now, if it's going to save a life or two, I will do anything. You know what I mean? But I feel like this, like, I did not go I did not delve into the occult when I had my awakening. I did not do anything specifically. I learned numbers, which now I'm looking at religion now that I've studied and gone deep. I'm like, no, God created this, so I'm not doing wrong and learning the code that he made.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
why did that prompt all of these like gifts to happen, like reading people's minds out of nowhere, and the spiritual gifts that just popped up out of nowhere.
Here's the thing. This is what I always say. If you take it back to biblical times and you take whether it's John the Baptist, whether it's Moses, whether it's anyone who God spoke to and said, do this, go forth, and so on and so forth, right? Or let me give you this information. They would be a person standing on the side of a street with a sign saying, God is talking to me, listen to me, this is what's happening, and no one would believe them.
Right.
They would be saying, we need to get him medical help and put him in an institution, and that would be that. So that does get to me from time to time, because you see it so often that if God or somebody really came back and you spoke, to an individual, he would never get his message out because they would always be locked up or shunned away, and it's interesting. But then you have the politicians running the country, and unless he spoke to a politician, he's not going to get he's not going to get anything done. So I just find that interesting.
Crazy.
And yeah, exactly. And that people with your abilities should be listened to and should be applauded for even taking the time, because like because I feel like I have little empathic scenarios that happen, and after a while I kind of tamp it down to where I don't want to know, or I don't want to say, or I don't want to tell someone something, or it's like, because I'm like, whether they believe me or not, I just don't want the drama, that comes with it. So thank you for, just championing that and still, speaking your thoughts and mind and out here doing, what you're doing. So.
Sure. Thank you.
Yeah. I just had a quick question. So when you do get these feelings that something major is about to happen, is that it just comes to you, or is that because of just using numerology that you were able to come to these predictions?
It's several things, and it's 11:10 here by the way. I just have to notice it. It's several things, Amy. Actually, it is the numerology. That is I can't emphasize enough the actual energy and abilities that numerology is the catalyst of. That it literally is the catalyst, and it's hard to think like, why would that be? Like what? But that's a big catalyst, right? Of that. Mm-hmm. And I would say also, numerology is both Pythagorean and gematria is like infinity. You're never going to get to the end of it, right? Even as an expert numerologist, less than probably 1% of humanity can do what I can do. But even so, I'm still learning. Every single consultation teaches me more about a certain number, or about a certain set of numbers, or a certain attribute, or how two numbers work together in this sort of way. So I'm constantly kind of adding to my encyclopedia, but it's also empathically. So I can also, because an 8 in one person's chart may not mean the same thing, even in the same placement, as an 8 in another person's chart in the same placement. And that chart just may call to me in a different way. I don't know how to say it any different. It's literally just like the energy that I feel with it. Mm-hmm. And just what I sense, what I know. Does that answer your question? I'm sorry.
That makes sense.
Yes. I mean, but basically not everyone can be a numerologist, right? Or
no,
can they?
I think everybody can. I think everybody can. My goal, that's the whole reason that I'm trying to teach humanity how to read the numbers. Mm. And especially if you break it down with Pythagorean numerology, because it's only 12 digits that you got to get to know. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You can start from there. Then my hope is that just like with me, and going back to what Bobby said, I believe we were all created to have these abilities. It's why we all have pineal glands. It's what our actual DNA is. It's what our hair is the, antenna into the
I
ether.
have no hair, for the record. I have no hair.
It's okay.
I'm just joking. I didn't say that.
No, he's not joking. He
Why
really
you're
doesn't
so
have
out of
the
really
hair.
don't.
You're so out of tune with all this stuff, Bobby.
But seriously, to me, it's just like being a human, right? Everyone's a human, right? Everyone has a set of cells that make them up to be who they are, and so on and so forth. But you still have, the wide receivers that have their abilities, the running backs that have their abilities, the people on the sidelines that don't have no football ability. So even though we're all humans, everybody has their particular abilities. And to me, people like yourself have that extra, or that perception of these abilities that allow. It's like what Amy was saying, but I would wrap it up like this. It's like a lock. And you can actually like a lock that is numbered, not with a key. And then you can actually see the tumbler as you're turning it, and you see what the combination is as you're turning the lock to know that these particular things will open up, this lock to get to this, chest or whatever's in the chest. But I think people like yourself have that ability, and whether it's your pineal gland is not shriveled up like others, and it's, it has,
Or
it's the
blocked
size
because of all the fluoride.
Yeah, exactly. It's the size of a grape opposed to shriveled up almond.
Right.
We don't know until you actually, you got a brain scan to look at that. But I just think there are people with other abilities that others just do not have, and that are born with, for, whether it's, God gave them that innate ability. It's like singers. Some can sing and then some can sing. So it's just all those different things. But yeah, that's what I think anyways.
Yeah, it's kind of like being a savant, or just being born with a different, your mind is on a different frequency than everyone else's. But, through meditation and training and practice and study, anyone can, in theory, get to that level. But some people have to really practice it, and some people are just born with their mind open to it. I don't know.
And no, you're right. You're right in this sense. We were not put on this planet to go work a job for 8 to 16 hours a day and have all this social media, being inundated with all these particular technologies and so on and so forth, right? And so your consciousness and your being is constantly bombarded, whether it's from driving, talking, just all the things that play out throughout
all the information
day.
we're overloaded with.
Yeah, and
propaganda.
So yeah, but there are some that can quiet their mind and focus, and that go and to another state or another level when it's honing these particular abilities. And some, they do it over time, because the time you truly have to be of the planet, I would say, is when you're young. You're not worried about a job. You may have stress in your life as far as what's going on in your household, but for the most part, those are the kids who really, hone whatever skill, whether it's music, mathematics, other things, sitting there talking to entities, because, they have that innate ability, as the pineal gland is still, probably,
like malleable.
Exactly. And you're not inundated with all the things that go on now. But guess what? These new kids, they are inundated with all the technologies.
The iPad kids.
Exactly. And all the stuff that happens, like, you're being an adult, making all these, phone decisions. What game am I going to play now? Who am I going to talk to now? What, just all kind of things that go on that we didn't have, growing up back in the day, to go out and play sports, to do particular things and just sit and think.
Yeah, just play in the grass with your shoes off and
exactly
feel some dirt on your feet.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So it's really interesting when it comes to that regard. But let's go ahead and take a break, and then if you can, I want you to, to kind of dabble into either some predictions. I know you were going to do some numbers on Amy and Carolyn. We can go either which way you want to go. So that was too funny.
I'm excited.
So let's go ahead and take a break, and then we'll come back.
Thanks for listening to Strange Darkness Radio, where you can indulge in all kinds of spooky entertainment and stories about ghosts, UFOs, cryptids, and other unexplained occurrences. If you have your own story to tell, contact us at 916-741-3032 or by emailing strangedarknessradio@gmail.com.
Now let's get back to Strange Darkness Radio.
All right, and we're back. So, Rothy, let's get into, how do you want to go? You want to go on the...
We have February done first, so let's go ahead and go through February.
Okay.
And then we'll go ahead and do the ladies' charts if that sounds cool with you guys.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
All right. So it's a big month, starting out with the 1st of February. So just like with numerology charts, okay? Numerology charts, you're going to have 5 digits, right? 5 placements. 2 of those are going to be from your date of birth, right? That's your life path and your birth date number. It's from your date of birth. If you're looking at a date without a person involved, right? Like for predictions, then you're going to look at what's called the daily energy and the overall energy. It is the same thing as the life path and the birth date for a person, okay? And how I get those numbers is for the life path or the overall, I add all of the digits up together, right? And it either deduces down to 1 digit or a master, 11, 22, and 33, okay? So, and then the daily energy is just what the day is. If it's the 1st, it's going to be a daily energy of 1, right? So on February 1st, we have a daily energy of 1, of course, but it is an overall 11. So we have an amplified master date on the 1st of February. So it is a 111, that marker 111, okay? So let's talk about this a little bit because the 111 is not only huge in my life, but it's huge in our world, regardless of if we realize it or not. So it's 11:22 right now. So the 111.
What does that mean? What does that mean real quick? What does that mean when you say that?
To me, it's more of like to me, it's more just like these things are confirmation.
Oh.
I'm talking about numbers, and so this would tell me, yes, get that information out there, get it out there hard, get it out there amplified. However, put it out there with love.
Got it.
Okay. So yeah, the 111. The 111 itself as a general energy is, I don't like to call them angel numbers. I think that's dumb. I'm not trying to offend anybody. It's just, it doesn't fit in some, I don't call it angel numbers. It's not angels talking to you like people think. I don't believe that at all. The numbers themselves are talking. That is what it is. They have energy themselves. So the 111 is evil. It is threat. It's foe. It is war. It's aggression. It's giving somebody the middle finger. It's, I'm coming for you. It's a warning. So if you go back to like a lot of Trump's old tweets before he was kicked off a few years ago, you're going to see a lot of the tweets that he made, the real big strong ones towards the elites, towards the deep state specifically, are on the 111 markers, either 1101, 1011, 111, that sort of a thing. It's always on the 111 markers. And this is the elites they're communicating with one another, and they're saying, I'm coming. This is your warning. I'm coming. Like, that's what that means.
So it's like Trump calling them out, and that's kind of almost like an act of war.
It's him warning them.
Or are you saying that Trump is the aggressor?
Yeah, or they're together. Like, what are you saying with that?
Can you explain?
So if it's a general thing about the elites or about the deep state or about one of his opposition, somebody on the Democratic Party that he's focused on in that tweet, whatever that thing that he's focused on as his enemy, if he is speaking towards it in an aggressive way, those were generally sent on the 111 markers. Oh. And this is how the elites communicate to one another without us knowing. Make sense?
Yes.
No, I'm sorry, can you explain that? Like, are they receiving hidden messages from Trump, or they're communicating via Trump, or how do you mean?
No, they understand the numbers.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, this is why we need to understand the numbers too. The Bible, whether you believe in that sort of sect of religion or not, there's a part of it that says, be wise as a serpent and gentle as a dove. So I consider myself in this regard because I work for good. I want to expose evil, and I have come upon, as an expert, I've come upon, oh, they are talking to each other.
Mm-hmm.
And that is what I'm looking to try to teach humanity, to learn this language with me so that we all can be looking and for, okay. Because a lot of times that's how you decode. A lot of it is empathic with me, yes, and it gets kind of confused with the numbers. And people are like, well, how does this say? Blah, blah, blah? Well, I just knew it, right?
Yeah.
That's different from what the numbers say, okay? There's numbers and they have their energies, and then there's Sarah Rothy, the empath, and that's totally different. If you're just learning the numbers are going to speak a lot themselves. And so it's just really learning those codes, learning the energies of them. And, Trump was I'm not going to lie, he was one of the big catalysts to my awakening too. I used to not be able to stand him. And then I did his chart and I was like, oh shit, oh shit. Oh my God.
In a good way, oh my God, or in a bad way, oh my God. Which
no,
one?
in a
like you can tell what he's saying.
In a revelation. Okay. It was what his, and I still have this on YouTube. It's on private, but I still have both of his charts on YouTube. It was basically, it let me know that he did this for the children. That's what it was talking about. Trump's chart is a 45577. Doesn't have 1 8 in there, which was the biggest surprise of all because 8 is power, money, karma. But he doesn't have 1 8 in his chart. So that's insane to me. But I learned that the 5 and the 7 together are super, super smart and a ton of energy. And he has duplicated 7s and duplicated 5s. So that's why that's so much brilliant strategy with that power behind it, with that energy behind it. But he already had everything, right? He was doing this as a mission for the innocents. And so that's what I advocate for. And that's when I started really, really, liking him. So, I mean, I don't like to get into politics a lot of times, but
the smile that was on Carolyn's face just now.
Well, no, I was going to say something, but then you said it. But go ahead. You can. I'll say it after.
It's one of those things that's like, all of them could be lizards. Who knows? They all could be lizards.
Well, let me ask you this before you get into that. Let me ask you this question here. So, are you saying by the way that they talk and speak, you can actually tell who is an elite and who is in the Illuminati?
A lot of them, yeah. But I don't think Trump is, I could be wrong. I don't think Trump is Illuminati. I think that
he's trying to take them out and expose them, right?
Yeah.
Is that what you were kind of...
Yeah. I am convinced of that. I do believe that. Here's where I start to really look crazy. Okay.
She's gonna say Biden is
a genius. No,
the serpent.
I did his chart too. And, oof. And I did Hillary's too. I did them all.
Did you do Governor Newsom? By any chance? God. I call him Governor Nuisance. But,
yeah, you should do that one next.
Oh God! Let me get gloves on first.
Oh no!
I mean, that mean.
I'm just. We don't have to go into that realm. But I was just curious. But
yeah, I think that there's different types of elites. Okay. Yes, Trump is an elite, but I think he's one of the good ones. If there could be good ones, I think he's one of the good ones. So. And
people, she is from Texas. I just want to say it for the record. But anyways, I'm just that's.
What do you say?
I said you are from Texas, so we have to, consider the source. But it's a red state. Yes.
That is amazing, though, because you could just really not like someone, but if you do their chart and it tells you a different picture, then that can completely change your mind about the way you feel about that person. That's very interesting, actually.
Yeah, like he was very much like YT trash president in my mind before this. I was like, that's the redneck president. Now, I grew up in Florida, like the redneck capital. I have redneck friends. I love redneck. I'm not, you know what I mean? But like this, I was convinced he was like that genre of of a man and of an appeal. And so I held that against him for a while. And also the celebrity I held against him for a while.
Yeah.
I was a big Cruise person for a while.
Tom
And
Cruise?
then
Wait, Tom Cruise?
Ted Cruz.
Oh, okay. I would say Pajama Man that
No.
fights demons in his pajamas. Okay.
No. Teddy Cruz down here in Texas. But
Ryan Ted.
yeah. I'm not so much a fan now. And yeah, Trump has really, really, I think, opened a lot of people's eyes. And I think I don't think anybody can deny that, whether you love him or hate him. Like, he's definitely shaken shit up. And I think it needed to be shaken up.
And so without getting into politics, which is what I was going to say earlier.
You guys are smack dab in the middle of it.
Well, one thing that I like about Trump is that he literally has no filter. He says whatever pops into his brain. And that means that he's, honest, right? Compared to your typical politician who is the exact opposite of that. They don't ever say what they're really thinking or feeling.
Yeah,
they don't ever
I
just
agree with you.
You know what I mean?
On that thing, yeah.
So, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Bobby.
No. That was it. That's all I want.
But I'm not saying politically, he's good or bad. I'm just saying literally whatever comes to his brain, he just says it. So at least whether what he's saying is good or bad.
So
it's how he really feels.
You don't like any filters, though, Carolyn, is what you're saying.
I just don't. No, I'm not saying that either. I definitely think he's said some not great things that he probably shouldn't have. But I'm just saying, I just don't like politicians, period. I don't care what side they're on. I think they're all freaking liars. And
I agree.
Well, unfortunately, they're running the world. They're running the country.
That I'm curious about. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying. Unfortunately, they're running the country. So that's kind of, we have to care.
It's the deal, right? You have to.
Yeah.
But what were you going to say, Amy?
Yeah. So that brings to mind. So there must be have you ever done a chart on someone who we know they're evil? Has it ever come up where, they have great numbers? Has that ever happened?
Yeah.
I mean, serial killers, and you did a chart on them, this person has the best numbers I've ever seen, actually. Is that possible?
Well, Amy, that's how they were able to get away with all the murders, as long as they did. No, I'm just joking.
They're so charming.
That's funny. I haven't done any serial killers numbers, but that's a good idea, and we should do that. And I do have kind of a story with a serial killer. And
yes,
we were going to ask you about that.
No, we can't wait to hear about that. Actually,
yeah, we'll probably have to do his, but I think that I have on my social media, a couple of videos pinned about Anton LaVey, who was the father of the Satanic Church, and his whole birthday numerology and his death date numerology is an absolutely stellar example of numerology, both somebody who's born to be evil, his life path and birth date were 111, born to be evil. And then his death date was October 31st of 1997, according to the pastor who was doing an exorcism on this woman who he was possessing during an astral projection thing, right? They were doing a seance. Him, his daughter, Zena, Carla, his other daughter, they were doing this. He astral projected and was in this woman. This pastor was doing an exorcism. And then he asked God to cut Anton LaVey's silver cord, which is the cord that keeps you alive and connects you to your body, your soul to your body when you're astroplaning, right? Or astral traveling. And so that's when he died. And Xena came through too. There's a whole video on this.
Okay.
Sorry.
What just happened?
Oh, she's getting a...
So sometimes that happens. It's just, I just got to sit there for a second. So I apologize.
No worries.
Good or bad or
no. It's just energy coming through, messaging kind of. It's just, I just feel, and I gotta focus for a second. So
interesting.
Yeah, it's just how it happens sometimes. Yeah. But anyways, there's the death date controversy where Xena and his family said that he died on October 29th. And the coroner, his death certificate, and this pastor say it was 10/31, Halloween. Well, how apropos that the father of the Satanic Church would die on Halloween of all days, right? Why would his family and the media say something different? Well, when you break down the numerology of it, 1031 is an overall 4/4. It's a duplication, right? Amplification of the 4. What is the 4? The 4 is the builder, but it's also justice. So a duplication of that justice 4 was God having the justice and the victory over Satan on a 4/4 energy day, right? So that makes sense. But why would his family say 1029? Well, let's look at the breakdown. It happens to be an 11/11 duplicated day in numerology. So what they're saying with this, the amplified 11 is the master intuitive. A lot of 11s are psychics. They're mediums. They're people like me. I have no 11 in my chart, by the way. But 11s a lot of times have that natural empathic ability. And so this is saying that it's that duplication of that master. So it's taking two master numbers that are divinely connected numbers. And it's saying that he is that elevated, ascended master. And it's amplifying that energy. So even though it's not the truth of what's happening.
Yeah, I was going to say, so which one is true?
Right, exactly, right? Of course, I believe that the pastor and the coroner, the death certificate that says 1031. The reason that he said that the family said 1029 is because they don't want the energy out there in the ether or the admission to God that he had the victory over their father, who was the father of the Satanic Church. That was the victory of God over Satan. Whereas the 1029 claiming of his death date on that date is the 11/11 master amplified. So that's like an ascended master. He's up there with God. He completed his purpose as a Satanist and founding this church, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't matter what the truth is. It doesn't matter that Hitler supposedly went to Argentina, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't matter that Muslim tradition is not that that you don't, what do you call that? Cremate the body the day that they die and then send them off to the ocean like they did with bin Laden. We know this. They don't care.
Yeah.
They put it out there in energy, in media, because everything is frequency, right? So they put out these narratives in media for us to be programmed, right? Through the channels, Prince of the Power of the Air. Okay. Right. So we're using frequencies to tell humans and brains to program them with this certain mind of thinking. It doesn't matter what the truth is when you know how to manipulate and you can wield the power of energies of numbers, if you know how to do it.
So I always thought that numerology was almost kind of like destiny, like how you use it, you can use it to make predictions and stuff, but you're almost making it sound like the Illuminati and these, cult leaders and whoever is pulling the strings of this whole world, like they're all purposely planning these things based on numerology.
Yes.
So is it both? Is it?
Yes, it's both. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Interesting.
Yeah. So when I say the framework to our simulation, what I'm saying is every single thing in our reality, everything in our awareness and our consciousness is built upon the railways of numerology. It has a numerological energy and breakdown to it, right? So that's a person's birth date and their purpose. That is an explosion that happens on a certain date, or a false flag, or a black swan event that happens on a certain date. That's the Super Bowl happening on 2/11/24. Are you kidding me? With all of this is all planned, guys. And we've seen, I'm sure on social media, that they've now come out with, it's going to be the 49ers and the Ravens, which based upon the colors that they've had out since the beginning of the season, one could have already guessed that. Well, now you're going to have it on 2/11. That's
so you're calling that right now for all the gamblers out there, and you're saying that it's going to be the 49ers and the Ravens going to the Super Bowl.
That's what I think. I mean, it makes sense. Look at the past 3 years,
Ooh, I'm writing that down.
You better go put some money down on that woman.
Wait, who did you say the Ravens versus
who's gonna
who?
win though?
49ers.
49ers and the Ravens.
But who's gonna win the Super Bowl?
I want to say my instinct is going immediately Ravens, but of course I'm going to
Lamar.
40 years. Don't listen to me when it comes to football. But
Yeah.
I'm going to say the Ravens.
A little biased.
Right?
Okay, I'm gonna go put $25,000 on the Ravens.
Let me hold that, Amy. I'll probably make better use of it. So. But you will still lose it, but at least you'll know it went to a good cause.
For sure. Okay, so let's continue with this February breakdown. So dates to watch that I'm calling as amplified energy dates. Now, this doesn't mean stock boom or a stock crash is going to happen this day. It just means it's an amplified energy date, and there's a lot more probability of something like that happening, right?
Mm.
So amplified dates. Let's go with the maybe more shadow feeling type dates for me. Is going to be February 1st because that's an 11-1 or a 1-11.
Where are you getting the 11 from?
It's an overall 11. So 2 + 1 + 2 + 2 + 4.
Oh, got you. Okay, got you.
Right. Mm-hmm. And then the day, the actual first one, that's how it's 11-1. Okay.
Okay.
And then the 3 days surrounding the 11th. So the 9th, the 10th, and the 11th, I'm looking at those 3 days right there are kind of looking funny to me. The 10th and the 11th specifically, the 10th is another 11-1. So we have the amplified master there. And let's go a little bit further down here. The 8s are not too crazy in February, but we are in an 8 year. So we're gonna of course watch the 8th, the 17th, and the 26th, as we do every single month. And then also the 22nd and the 29th this month, which is a 3-11. So the 11th is also a 3-11. So the 3 is a creative child. We're going to deal with music. The 10th is really kind of standing out to me. So like something the day before Super Bowl. That's a day that's standing out. And the first.
Is it bad or good?
111.
Mm.
The first,
111
9th,
energy.
10th, and 11th. Those are all standing out as especially not good days.
Well, as especially amplified days.
Okay.
And 75% could be shadow. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Not
And
to
then
say that the good can't happen. It's just
right.
Not
More probable. Okay.
And then the 8th, the 17th, 26th, 22nd, and 29th also are they may be iffy days as well then.
Right. Those are amplified energy dates. Specifically the 10th, 11th, and the 29th are the ones that the 1st, the 10th, the 11th, and the 29th are the ones I'm really looking at for February.
Okay.
Anything happening on the 28th by any chance?
Why?
No reason.
Do you have something going on,
What's the
Bobby?
28th?
You're
might go to Arizona.
Get on
Job
a plane?
interview?
No
planes?
I know
Getting on
plane.
a
I'm
plane.
going on a plane to Arizona if I go.
Oh yeah,
Is that
was
the 28th?
right?
Yeah, 28th.
Oh, okay.
The 28th, I'm not feeling anything with it. It's not standing out for any reason.
I got to come back on the
It's a good day
29th,
to
so that's
fly.
not good. Well, I'm flying on the 29th too, because I have to come back. So.
Uh-oh. Oh, you're screwed
Dun,
now.
dun, dun.
You'll make it there, but will you make it back?
The 29th is on the. It's not it's one of those days, but not one of the main amplified days.
It's the 29th is a 3-11. It's so I'd say it's like medium amplified.
Okay.
Medium amplified. Yeah.
Writing all of these down because I'm going to be tracking my days.
Yeah, and the listeners too. If you notice anything on any of those days, let us know. or let Rothy know.
Yeah, that would be great to hear.
Go to
Sure.
go to Rothy's. What's your Instagram?
Rothy Reads Numbers at Rothy Reads Numbers, ROTHY Reads Numbers, as well as on TikTok, on what's that other one? Twitter X. I'm at Rothy's World.
Nice.
So,
Okay.
Thanks for tuning in to part 1 featuring our special guest Rothy. Don't miss part 2, where Rothy conducts a mesmerizing numerology reading on our hosts Amy and Carolyn. Plus, Bobby experiences his first ever reading. In part 1, Rothy showcased her incredible ability to unravel the mysteries hidden within numbers, peering into the unseen and piercing the veil of the matrix with precision. Join us for an eye-opening part 2. If you thought you knew the hosts, get ready for a revelation. The numbers speak for themselves. This is your spectral voice, Benson. Thanks for listening to Strange Darkness Radio. As your journey through the shadow realms of Strange Darkness Radio concludes, remember that you unlock the door to the paranormal with the key of imagination. Beyond it lies another dimension, a dimension of eerie soundscapes, chilling sights, and the profound depths of the mind. You're venturing into a land of both haunting shadows and tangible substance, where the ethereal meets the corporeal, and ideas take on a spectral form. You've just crossed over into the Strange Darkness Radio Zone. In the vast expanse of the paranormal, there exists a fifth dimension, extending beyond the known realms of our understanding. It is a dimension vast as the cosmos and eternal as infinity, a mysterious terrain between the illumination of light and the depths of shadow. This is the middle ground between the empirical and the supernatural, where fears fester in the pit of humanity's soul and knowledge ascends to its zenith. Welcome to the dimension of imagination, an area we dub the Strange Darkness Radio Zone. As you conclude your journey with us, remember that you're departing this peculiar zone, a place where reality intertwines with the surreal. Be cautious as you step out, for you may find that the boundaries between the normal and the paranormal blur, leaving you forever in the lingering embrace of the unknown. Until next time, farewell from the depths of the Strange Darkness Radio Zone.